Wisdom beyond 60, dear everyone. Let me start with a truth that might surprise you. Most people believe that after 60, health and longevity are simply matters of destiny, written in the stars, unchangeable. But what if I told you that science, stories, and decades of lived experience prove the exact opposite? Longevity after 60 is not just fate, it is choice. It is in the little decisions you and I make every single day. This may sound shocking, but in my years of guiding older adults, I've seen men and women in their 70s, even 80s, with stronger energy, clearer minds, and brighter spirits than people 20 years younger. And no, it wasn't because they had expensive supplements or secret formulas. The turning point often came from removing certain foods, innocent-looking foods, that quietly stole their vitality one bite at a time. The reason this matters is simple. What shortens life after 60 is not always dramatic. It doesn't come with flashing warning signs. It slips into our kitchens disguised as comfort, habit, or tradition. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Because when the threat hides in plain sight, most people never notice until it's too late. Imagine this: a plate of food that looks harmless, even delicious, but slowly drains your energy, clouds your memory, or makes each step feel heavier with time. Now imagine making a small shift, a conscious choice, and suddenly noticing your joints don't ache as much, your nights are more restful, and your mornings feel lighter. That is the hidden power of awareness. And that is what this video is about. I want you to stay with me because in the next few minutes, I will open a window into 5 foods that secretly shorten life after 60. But more importantly, I will show you how to replace them with choices that not only taste good, but also add precious years of independence, clarity, and joy. This isn't fear, it's hope, and it's proof that every day after 60 can be a new beginning. If this message resonates with you, please take a moment to subscribe to Beyond 60 Wisdom. Your support gives us the strength to keep creating meaningful content, stories, and guidance that truly serve your life after 60. Every subscription is like a handshake of encouragement, reminding us that this mission matters. Now, before we move on, I want to invite you to reflect. Here's a simple question. Which do you believe has the greater impact on longevity after 60? A. Adding more healthy foods to your diet. B. Removing the hidden foods that quietly drain your health. Take a moment, choose A or B, and leave your answer in the comments. There is no right or wrong. Your choice says something about the way you see health and aging. And don't go anywhere, because the most valuable, practical, and eye-opening part is coming right after this. I'll reveal those 5 foods and the surprising truth behind them. Trust me, you will not want to miss what comes next. I once met a 75-year-old woman while traveling through Okinawa. She had the kind of presence that made you pause. Her steps were light, her smile calm, and her eyes sparkled with a vitality that felt timeless. I asked her how she managed to keep such energy at her age, and her answer was as simple as it was profound. She said, "I don't eat the things that steal my strength." That single line has stayed with me ever since. Because beneath its simplicity lies a deep truth about aging well. Most of us grow up believing that age automatically equals decline. But I have seen enough to know that this belief is not the full story. The human body, even after 60, carries an extraordinary ability to adapt, to heal, and to flourish. The key is not just what we add, but also what we quietly remove. Think about it. If you keep pouring clean water into a glass that is already filled with something harmful, it doesn't matter how pure the water is, it will still be contaminated. Longevity after 60 follows the same principle. You can fill your life with movement, sunshine, and laughter. But if certain foods remain in the background, undermining your efforts, the results will always fall short. I've worked with people who believed their fatigue, their joint stiffness, or their restless nights were just part of aging. Yet when they took the brave step to let go of a few familiar foods, changes began almost immediately. They reported feeling lighter, thinking clearer, and sleeping more peacefully. These were not dramatic overnight transformations, but steady improvements that stacked up day after day into a renewed sense of life. It taught me that resilience does not fade with age. It simply waits for us to give it room. Here's what is truly surprising. The foods that most often steal vitality are not exotic or unusual. They are everyday items sitting in pantries, fridges, and grocery carts. They sneak in under the cover of comfort and habit, and because they are so ordinary, they rarely raise suspicion. That is why they are so powerful and so dangerous. We trust them, we rely on them, and we rarely question them. But once we begin to see them clearly, the choice becomes ours. Do we continue to let them silently shape our health? Or do we take control and open the door to a different kind of aging? The moment of realization is always powerful. I've seen men in their 70s, women in their 80s, suddenly discover that life after 60 does not have to be about surrendering. It can be about reclaiming. Every time someone chooses to step away from foods that no longer serve them, they are not giving something up. They are gaining time, freedom, and dignity. That, to me, is the essence of longevity. And this is only the beginning. Stay with me, because in the next part, we are going to uncover exactly which 5 foods are quietly undermining your health and what simple, satisfying alternatives can take their place. What comes next could be the most important shift you make for your well-being after 60. Don't go anywhere. The best part is just ahead. When I step back and look at the bigger picture, one truth stands out clearly. Longevity after 60 is not an accident. It is the result of choices made day by day, sometimes in the smallest of ways. I have seen this echoed in the lives of people across the globe. In the small villages of Japan, where elders walk daily with laughter in their voices, in American communities where neighbors come together to share meals, and in families who honor traditions but adapt them to fit a healthier life. Everywhere I look, the same principle holds. What we choose after 60 has the power to rewrite the story of aging. Many people assume that growing older means narrowing possibilities, but I believe it's the opposite. After 60, there is a chance to reclaim time, energy, and even joy that might have been overlooked before. Science supports this, and so do countless stories of individuals who learned that letting go of certain foods or habits opened the door to new vitality. It is not about restriction, but about liberation, removing what weighs you down so you can rise into the years ahead with more freedom. I think of a man in his late 70s who once told me that he thought his best years were behind him. But when he started to make deliberate changes, focusing on movement, prioritizing rest, and especially clearing his plate of the foods that no longer served him, he began to feel possibilities open again. He wasn't chasing youth. He was embracing strength, clarity, and peace in the stage of life he was in. That is what longevity after 60 truly means. There is something profoundly hopeful in this perspective, because it shows us that no matter where we are starting, there is always a step we can take today. Each small shift builds upon the last, creating momentum toward a future where health is not just about surviving, but about living with intention and satisfaction. This is not theory. It is lived reality, proven again and again in people who dared to believe they still had choices. And perhaps most importantly, it reveals that longevity after 60 is not bound by geography, wealth, or circumstance. Whether you live in a quiet countryside or a bustling city, whether your days are filled with family or solitude, the choices are still yours. To recognize what drains your energy, to let go of what no longer benefits you, and to welcome the habits that nurture your body and your spirit, that is the universal language of aging well. Now, as we move forward, we will shine a light on the 5 specific foods that quietly steal vitality and discover the practical, enjoyable alternatives that can take their place. This next part may surprise you, and it may challenge what you've believed for years. But I promise it will also empower you, because knowledge is only the beginning. Application is where transformation happens. Stay with me, because the most important practical steps you can take are just ahead. What strikes me most about longevity after 60 is the way it connects us all, regardless of where we come from or what we have. In every culture I've studied, from small villages where elders walk side by side to busy cities where seniors gather in community centers, the message is the same. Aging well is about choices. It's about what we allow into our lives and what we courageously let go of. There is no single formula, but there is a pattern, and it always starts with awareness. I have come to believe that longevity after 60 is not just about food or exercise, though both are important. It is about a mindset shift. It is about realizing that the years ahead are not meant to be endured, but to be lived fully. When someone recognizes that their health is not fixed but flexible, something extraordinary happens. They stop waiting for decline and begin shaping their future. They no longer see meals as routine, but as opportunities to nurture life itself. They stop viewing rest as weakness and start embracing it as renewal. These changes may look small from the outside, but inside they create strength, clarity, and peace. I remember speaking with a woman in her early 80s who told me, "I thought I was done learning, but then I discovered I could still change my habits and my life felt new again." That kind of realization is powerful. It shows us that there is no age limit to growth, no expiration date on discovery. And it also reminds us that every choice matters, whether it is choosing fresh food over processed, a walk in the park instead of hours in front of the television, or a heartfelt conversation instead of isolation. These are the true ingredients of longevity after 60. The beauty of this stage in life is perspective. After 60, many of us see more clearly what truly matters. We know that possessions fade, but relationships endure. We know that status means little, but health and freedom mean everything. We know that time is precious, and that how we spend each day creates the quality of our remaining years. Longevity is not about chasing numbers, but about shaping the meaning of the time we have. And that is why the idea of removing 5 hidden foods becomes so symbolic. It is not just about food. It is about the courage to look at what no longer serves us and to make the choice to move forward differently. Each decision to let go is also a decision to embrace something better, whether that's clearer energy, more restful nights, or simply the joy of knowing we still hold the power to change. In the next part, I will reveal those 5 foods in detail and explain how they quietly influence the quality of life after 60. More importantly, I will share how simple, satisfying alternatives can enrich your meals without taking away pleasure. This may be the most eye-opening and practical section yet, and I encourage you to stay with me, because what comes next could very well shape the way you experience your golden years. As we arrive at this point, I want to remind you that longevity after 60 is not just about avoiding harm. It is about creating a new rhythm for life. It is about giving yourself permission to step into a chapter that is both lighter and stronger, one that reflects the wisdom you have gathered and the freedom you have earned. Letting go of certain foods is not an act of restriction, but an act of self-respect. It is choosing to value every breath, every step, every shared moment with those you love. I often think of longevity not as adding years, but as adding life to the years we already have. When you no longer carry the weight of choices that drain your energy, you begin to notice something remarkable. Your mornings feel less heavy, your thoughts come more clearly, and your body moves with a steadier ease. It is as if the small adjustments unlock a part of you that was waiting to reemerge. That is the quiet miracle of awareness, seeing that the power to feel better was always closer than you thought. This is where perspective matters most. At 60 and beyond, we are no longer chasing the same dreams of youth. We are seeking meaning, connection, and peace. And food, though often treated as routine, becomes part of that deeper search. Every bite carries the potential either to support or to weaken. And when you realize that the balance lies in your hands, a new sense of empowerment takes hold. That empowerment is the essence of aging well. It is not about resisting time, but about shaping how time feels. In conversations with older adults across the world, one theme always stands out: gratitude. Those who live long, fulfilling lives often describe simple acts of gratitude. Gratitude for a morning walk, for a meal that nourishes, for laughter around the dinner table. Gratitude has a way of transforming even ordinary choices into extraordinary ones. It reminds us that health is not only about the body, but also about the heart and mind. And when gratitude is paired with wise choices, the path ahead becomes brighter. So as we prepare to close this section, I want you to hold on to one idea. Longevity after 60 is not written in stone. It is shaped in your kitchen, in your routines, in the way you treat yourself every single day. The 5 foods we will explore are not just items to be removed, they are symbols of a larger truth, that you still have the power to change, to grow, and to thrive. And with each step away from what no longer serves you, you step closer to the life you deserve. Do not step away now, because in the next part, we will uncover those 5 specific foods, explain why they quietly drain vitality, and show you how to replace them with alternatives that are both satisfying and supportive. This is the moment where everything we have talked about becomes practical and personal. Stay with me, because the most valuable guidance is coming right ahead. As we move deeper into the heart of this conversation, I want to remind you of something essential. Longevity after 60 is not just a matter of avoiding what harms you. It is about embracing what truly sustains you. Every choice you make from this day forward has the power to carry you into a brighter tomorrow. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to wait for a miracle. You only need to decide that your health, your energy, and your future are worth protecting. What I have witnessed over and over is that transformation after 60 does not come from complicated plans or overwhelming changes. It comes from small, deliberate shifts that are repeated consistently. It comes from listening to your body with greater respect and finally giving it what it has been asking for all along. When you remove the hidden foods that quietly take away your vitality, you create space for your body to recover, to grow stronger, and to feel lighter. That is the real gift of this stage of life, the awareness that small changes create profound impact. I often reflect on how interconnected everything becomes with age. Food is not only fuel, it is memory, tradition, and comfort. That is why it can feel so difficult to let go of the things we've held onto for decades. But I have seen the freedom people discover when they realize that letting go of certain foods does not mean letting go of joy. It means trading one kind of comfort for another, a comfort that comes not from taste alone, but from clarity of mind, steadiness of body, and peace of heart. That kind of comfort lingers long after the plate is empty. The most inspiring part of this journey is that it's never too late. I've spoken with people who made meaningful changes in their 70s, even their 80s, and they experienced real improvements in their daily lives. They discovered they could still walk farther, sleep better, and enjoy their time with family, with a kind of presence they thought was lost forever. Their stories remind us all that longevity after 60 is not about clinging to youth. It's about honoring the stage you are in and making it as rich as possible. Think of it this way. The years you have now are not just years to be endured, but years to be shaped. They are your opportunity to live with intention. Removing those 5 foods is not a punishment. It is a declaration. It is saying, I choose to stay present. I choose to stay strong. I choose to live fully. And each time you make that choice, you are rewriting the script of what aging can mean. And now, as we stand at the edge of this important lesson, the next part will be where everything becomes concrete and practical. I will take you step by step through those 5 foods, explain how they quietly diminish your strength, and most importantly, share the satisfying alternatives that can enrich your meals without taking away the pleasures of life. Stay close, because the most eye-opening and empowering section is coming next, and you will not want to miss what it could mean for your future. As we move deeper into the heart of this conversation, I want to remind you of something essential. Longevity after 60 is not just a matter of avoiding what harms you. It is about embracing what truly sustains you. Every choice you make from this day forward has the power to carry you into a brighter tomorrow. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to wait for a miracle. You only need to decide that your health, your energy, and your future are worth protecting. What I have witnessed over and over is that transformation after 60 does not come from complicated plans or overwhelming changes. It comes from small, deliberate shifts that are repeated consistently. It comes from listening to your body with greater respect and finally giving it what it has been asking for all along. When you remove the hidden foods that quietly take away your vitality, you create space for your body to recover, to grow stronger, and to feel lighter. That is the real gift of this stage of life, the awareness that small changes create profound impact. I often reflect on how interconnected everything becomes with age. Food is not only fuel, it is memory, tradition, and comfort. That is why it can feel so difficult to let go of the things we've held onto for decades. But I have seen the freedom people discover when they realize that letting go of certain foods does not mean letting go of joy. It means trading one kind of comfort for another. A comfort that comes not from taste alone, but from clarity of mind, steadiness of body, and peace of heart. That kind of comfort lingers long after the plate is empty. The most inspiring part of this journey is that it's never too late. I've spoken with people who made meaningful changes in their 70s, even their 80s, and they experienced real improvements in their daily lives. They discovered they could still walk farther, sleep better, and enjoy their time with family with a kind of presence they thought was lost forever. Their stories remind us all that longevity after 60 is not about clinging to youth. It's about honoring the stage you are in and making it as rich as possible. Think of it this way. The years you have now are not just years to be endured, but years to be shaped. They are your opportunity to live with intention. Removing those 5 foods is not a punishment. It is a declaration. It is saying, I choose to stay present. I choose to stay strong. I choose to live fully. And each time you make that choice, you are rewriting the script of what aging can mean. And now, as we stand at the edge of this important lesson, the next part will be where everything becomes concrete and practical. I will take you step by step through those 5 foods, explain how they quietly diminish your strength, and most importantly, share the satisfying alternatives that can enrich your meals without taking away the pleasures of life. Stay close, because the most eye-opening and empowering section is coming next, and you will not want to miss what it could mean for your future. Life after 60 is a chapter that holds more power than most of us realize. It is a stage where the wisdom of experience meets the opportunity for renewal. Too many times, we've been told that aging is about decline, about losing energy and slowly giving up control. But I've learned through the stories of people across the world that this belief is incomplete. Longevity after 60 is not simply about how many years remain. It is about the choices we make to shape those years. And some of the most powerful choices are the smallest ones, like deciding which foods to embrace and which to leave behind. As we've explored, there are certain everyday foods that may quietly steal energy and limit vitality. They often come dressed as comfort, tradition, or habit, but their long-term effect is subtle wear on the body and mind. The good news is that awareness itself is already the first step toward freedom. When you begin to notice what no longer serves your health, you gain the ability to choose differently. And with that choice, the door to renewal opens wider than you might expect. I've seen older adults who believed they were destined to live with fatigue, stiff joints, or restless nights. Yet when they decided to make small changes, removing or reducing those hidden foods, they began to notice shifts. Their mornings became lighter, their movements steadier, and their minds clearer. These weren't dramatic overnight transformations, but steady, life-giving improvements that reminded them of something powerful. It is never too late to take back control. The real lesson here is not about fear, it is about hope. It is about realizing that life after 60 is not something to endure, but something to create. Each meal is not just about filling the stomach. It is about honoring the body, showing gratitude for the years already lived, and preparing for the years still to come. By making conscious choices, you give yourself the gift of presence, the chance to laugh more fully with grandchildren, to enjoy the quiet of an evening walk, to wake up with energy for a new day. The takeaway for you is simple. Longevity is a matter of direction, not destiny. If you begin today, even with small steps, your body and spirit will respond. Choose water over sugary drinks, fresh produce over processed snacks, simple home cooking over heavy fried meals. None of these choices take away joy. They bring a deeper kind of joy, one rooted in strength, clarity, and peace of mind. So here's a question for you to reflect on. What do you believe is more powerful for longevity after 60? A, adding more healthy foods, or B, removing the ones that quietly drain your strength, Share your answer in the comments below because your perspective could inspire someone else watching this right now. And before you go, let me say this from the heart. If you found this video meaningful, if it gave you hope or reminded you that change is still possible, please subscribe to Beyond 60 Wisdom. Leave a comment with your thoughts and share this video with friends or family who might need encouragement today. Your support means everything. It fuels us to keep creating content that serves you, that uplifts you, and that keeps you company on this journey. Thank you for spending this time with me. Let's walk together, day by day, as we shape a life after 60 that is not only long, but rich, healthy, and deeply fulfilling.